Hello, hello, hello. Just doing a little chatting about non monogamy. I figured as we're heading up to this weekend we got coming up, it's not cheating, that I would go live and there we go. And talk about some of the things that people ask me about non monogamy, some of the things that I see online a lot about non monogamy, and maybe just spend, I don't know, 15 to 30 minutes a few times a week talking about non monogamy. Of course, as I see it, there are probably as many ways to do non monogamy as there are people doing it times 3.14, right? Because even the way I do non monogamy is different with all the different people that I do it with, right? It's crazy. So I wanted to touch in on the quote that I've put into the title for today. Comparison is the thief of joy. Because this comes up a lot, like in polyamory groups, in swinging groups, in kink groups that welcome non monogamous, in non monogamy groups. Comparison is the thief of joy, is something that people bring up quite a bit because one of the challenges that a lot of us have, right, with non monogamy is that as soon as our partners get another partner, the comparisons begin. And that can be sometimes not so fun, right? Yeah, Cobalt got it. Non monogamy pie. And that's one of the things I like to talk about is that non monogamy is not like a pie where you slice it all up and you give a little bit to everyone. Um, it's like you keep baking more pies for the people that come into your life. You don't have just one pie for your entire life. Now, again, let me be very clear. When I talk about non monogamy, I don't think non monogamy is right for everyone. I don't think everyone should be non monogamous. I'm not here to proselytize in that way to you, right? But for those who are interested in non monogamy of any sort, and for those who might be taking those first steps or might be looking to expand their knowledge and their understanding of non monogamy, you're who I'm talking to, right? You already have this interest. I'm not trying to convince you one way or another. I'm not trying to, pull you into the cult of perverts. If you're already here, then I welcome you. So let's dig down in, shall we? Because I'm going to pull a nookie and I'm going to pull this apart and I'm going to talk about it. Comparison is the thief of joy. Shalimar. Like pie, it's irrational and unending. So true. So very, very true. Okay, so comparison is a thief of joy. First of all, there's a bit of a misquote when most people do this. Like this has been attributed to Theodore Roosevelt, it's been attributed to Mark Twain, and they probably didn't say it. Where this actually came from is a book published in 1989. I'm going to tell you the actual quote and then, the book information, and then we'll go on. So, why can't you be like that? Why can't you do as well as your brother? If you just comb your hair down, people won't notice your big forehead. You'll look more presentable. By the way, that's what I do. Um, And so most of us have been taught to compare ourselves with others. And all of the professionals agree. Comparison is the death of true self contentment. Happiness is an Inside Job by John Powell, 1989. Now, comparison is the thief of joy, has a little ring to it, but I love comparison is the death of true self contentment. Wow. Like that one actually gives me shudders. Comparison is the thief of joy is sort of like pithy, right? Like it's super easy to say, hey, Celine, good to see you. But comparison is the death of true self contentment. Mm, right? That's kind of a punch to the gut. So, the reason I'm sort of like going on about this today is because a couple weeks ago in one of the non-monogamous groups I'm in, somebody asked, how do I stop comparing myself to others, especially my meta, right? One of my insecurities involves the idea of me not being good enough for my partner. And despite reassurances, my demonic brain keeps poking me and telling me that the other person has it better, better job, better career, more money to be able to provide for my partner. First was something I'm interested in, and now I can't do it because like I feel like a poser and et cetera, et cetera. And it's funking tiresome and it's making me spiral downwards. And I don't want to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyone recognize those feelings at all? Maybe a little bit like, okay, so my partner just got a new partner and I'm feeling some sort of way about it. They're younger, they're prettier, they're taller, they're like wealthier, they're more carefree, they're smarter, prettier, kinkier, sexier, and better. Not, as Cobalt says. Yeah. Like it's so easy to get caught up in this, right? Yeah. And let me just note for those of you who are just curious about non monogamy, maybe you're not sure about stepping into it. Maybe you haven't had this sort of experience yet with a pair bonded partner. But I bet you have had this experience, right? You've had it with a bestie, right? When you were kids and your bestie started like hanging out with somebody else, and you're like, oh, you just hang out with them because they've got a nicer car or a nicer place to hang out, or they got better parents, or we've all had this experience. This is part of the human experience, right? It's so, so easy. So let's talk about what it means to feel this sort of stuff. Some steps we can take to get around and over it. And then I'll leave you with a quick little thought that I had about it. So, first and foremost, practice self compassion. Now, the reason I say that is because really, when it comes right down to it, as I just said, this is the human condition. I mean, our brains are designed to look for what is the better berry, what is the riper fruit, what is the best thing to eat, what is the safer cave, right? Whatever. Our brains are comparison machines, right? And in a world where we have been socialized to value this thing over that thing, the way this looks over the way that looks, the way this smells over the way that smells, right? It's normal to look for how and where we belong in that social structure, right? For us to want to prove our worth and figure out our rank or social standing. That's how we're taught. It's how we evolved into the humans we are today. So when you start feeling these sorts of things, don't immediately pile onto it with shame or embarrassment or whatever. This is just human, right? So, first thing when you feel this sort of thing, just, well, there I go again. Being human. I really thought I'd gotten vaccinated against that, but apparently not. Still human. Yeah. Okay. Shalimar. My thought switch is partner and I have new partner cannot. My thought switch is partner and I have new partner cannot duplicate that. So far, it's a thought that helps get my brain out of comparison. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is always something about you that another partner cannot duplicate. Period. End of story. Always. But if you really go for it, there's always going to be something about them that you can't duplicate. So I think we need to dig a little deeper, right? I mean, it's wonderful to have that uniqueness. There's more though. Like more than just I can stick my finger on it and because I licked it, it's mine, right? Because that it's kind of like amorphous, right? This is mine, this is theirs. It's very parceling out of the human experience in a way that humans don't really do a whole lot of. So, first, practice self-compassion. Second, recognize when you're most susceptible to comparison. So, you're going to see that the pattern of comparison is usually upsetting you the most when you're feeling insecure about something, right? When it's closely matching something that either you value or you think that others value, right? You worry that others value. Like you may not think that looks are that important in who you pair bond with, but you might think that they are more important to your partner, right? Or to the people that your partner values as comrades or values their opinion, right? And so it's important to say, where am I more often comparing myself to others? Like, is it in particular areas? Is it in the way they look? Is it in how much money they make? This will tell you where you're focusing your thoughts and where you're placing value or where you think others place value. And that can make a difference because it will help you determine whether or not you feel like you're placing value where it's most important. Right? And are you giving other people credit for valuing things that you think are important or not? And if you know that other people value these things that are kind of pushing your buttons, how important is what they think to you? So, step number 3, and I'm going to give you 5 steps. First, practice self-compassion. Second, recognize when you're most likely, which buttons you have that are going to like get you to compare. Third, consider other perspectives. So when you look at somebody else, you never really know the whole picture, right? I know Celine loves the word sonder. If you look around Every single human in the world has a life that is just as complex and unfathomable as yours is. Don't oversimplify their goodness or their greatness because you can only see that one perspective. I know lots of people who are drop dead gorgeous and miserable, right? Or struggling with mental health, or have always felt insecure. And I also know a few people who are really beautiful and wicked smart and successful and seemingly have everything. And I cannot find a flaw no matter how hard I poke at them. They might say the same thing about others, right? So consider other perspectives. Understand that having a skill set or having something that people value does not necessarily mean they are happier, they are better, or that they're going to be more desirable to your partner. Cobalt says, I find people who tend to think if they don't see it, it's not there, whereas I tend to be curious about what I can't see. Yeah, absolutely. So, 4, don't let the fear of the comparison paralyze you. Because what will often happen, just like that person said in their question, um, my demonic brain keeps poking me and telling me that the other person has it better, better this, better that, better that. I feel like a poser and it's funking tiresome and it's making me spiral downwards. I don't want this to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that comparison, that fear can rob you of the ability to continue being the person that your partner chose you as to begin with, right? Hello, David. Welcome. Cobalt says, I'm a veteran worm eater. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. Think I'll eat some worms. Isn't that big, fat, slinky one? Oh, I don't even remember. But yeah, yeah. Worm eating. It's a thing. So you are here. I'm assuming that you're here because you want more out of life, right? You want to experience life fully, right? That's why you're putting more into your thought processes. That's why you're, you know, reading blogs and watching videos and poking more into non-monogamy and different ways of living and loving. We all have fears of failing or not, matching our potential, or, well, I don't have any fears right now of whether or not I'll live my best life, because I feel like I am living my best life. But I still have fears of failing, right? Or not, living up to my potential. Does not live up to her potential. That was written more than a few times on my report cards, right? Don't let fear push you into paralysis, into fight or flight, right? When you feel that, pause and take a deep breath and understand what the comparison is doing. Okay? So, first thing, practice self compassion. Second thing, understand your buttons and when you're most susceptible to doing those comparisons and allowing those comparisons to be the death of your true self contentment, right? Consider other perspectives, consider the complexity of the person you're comparing yourself to that you cannot see. And maybe that they are doing their damnedest to make sure nobody ever sees, right? Don't let fear paralyze you. And then number 5, take action, right? Perhaps, perhaps you can use comparison as a goad to spur you to do more of what you want to do, achieve more of what you want to achieve, and be more of who you want to be, right? Rather than spending time moping about how you are not all of those things, use it to inspire you towards it, not towards that one specific thing. Like there was there was a joke, and this is going to be very gendered and rude. So I'm gonna say ahead of time. I know this is gendered and rude. I don't believe in exactly how this is saying, but I think it makes a point. Um, Men say when they meet their friends, girlfriend or wife or whatever, they say, "Wow, she's amazing. I want a woman like her." And women say when they meet their friends, boyfriends or husbands or whatever, "Wow, he's amazing. I want him." Okay, not true. Shitty gendering, right? Whole war of the sexes there. Not here for it. However, when you're doing the comparison thing, when you point at something and say, "I want that," in your head, are you saying to yourself, "I want that and they shouldn't have it"? Right? I want their car, I want their home, I want their wife, I want their dog. Or are you saying, "I want a car like that for me. I want a home like that that is mine. I want a relationship like that, but mine, not theirs." Like, I've seen the way he picks his teeth at the dinner table, and that's not for me. Mine, right? So allow it to inspire you to take action towards finding those things from yourself, right? Moving towards things for you. Use the comparison as a guide on what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what you want to be, right? Moving towards things takes action. Watching from the outside is not going to get you there, right? Comparing yourself and feeling bad about it is not going to get you there. So, let's go back to the question, because again, this is something that we've all felt. How do I stop comparing myself to others, especially my meta? One of my insecurities around one of my insecurities involves the idea of me not being good enough for my partner. And despite reassurances, my demonic brain keeps poking me and telling me that the other person has it better. Better job, better career, more money to be able to provide for my partner. First with something I'm interested in, now I can't do it because I feel like a poser, etc., etc., etc. Right? And it's funking tiresome and it's making me spiral downwards. I don't want this to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, I've just given you 5 steps, right? Practice self-compassion, recognize when you're most susceptible to comparison, consider other perspectives, don't let fear paralyze you, and take action. But I've got another comparison for you. Try this one on for size. Compare your thoughts about yourself to your thoughts about your partners. Do you compare your partners to one another? Which one of them makes more money? Which one of my partners has nicer hair? Hmm? I've noticed this one has a whiter smile than that one. This one is definitely funnier, though. Do you do that? I mean, it's not that you don't like say, oh, yeah, this one's the funny one, that one is the serious one, right? Because, again, our brains are comparison machines. But do you do that, right? Do you tot them up in like actuary tables trying to figure out, which is the best life insurance? Or maybe, just bear with me here for a minute, maybe you love them for who they are as they are. Like they do you. And maybe that comparison will help. Just a thought. David, you said traveling to other countries is always a great time to try new partners. I personally don't necessarily find that to be true. Partially, I mean, traveling to other countries, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan. And one of my partner says, so what fantasies of yours do we still need to fulfill? And the joke is, we've fulfilled all my fantasies. I just want to do them again and again and again with like more sexy people in more different places. So, yes, traveling is definitely a thing. However, when I talk about partners, especially like pair bonding and stuff like that, for me personally, it takes a lot more than travel to sort of like make those connections. Like traveling to other countries is a great time for me to meet new friends and to have new experiences. But partners, not so much for me. So it's another way to think about it. Anyway, that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. I figure as we're leading up to It's Not Cheating on January 27th through 29th, which is going to be an online event, free to attend live. Information right there, notcheating.com. Super easy to get signed up. Get involved in the community. We're going to be posting all of these in the community. Encourage discussion about them. And then the It's Not Cheating Plus More is whopping $17. And that gets you access not only to VIP events for It's Not Cheating, but also to all of the replays once we've been through the weekend, and all of the replays from It's Not Cheating 2020, which we did. I think there's 13 of those. And all of the replays from our monthly non-monogamunch that we've done. And I can keep going here. My book, It's Not Cheating, which I think also came out in 2020, and I'm going to be rewriting it. And so the live write will also be a part of that It's Not Cheating Plus More. And if you have a partner or multiple partners who are also non-monogamous, for an extra $10, you can get a multi-pass, which $10 on top of the Plus More membership will get you 4 spaces for your polycule, for your lover partners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cobalt just asked, may I text you a question about a membership issue? Absolutely. If you are a plus member of Dating Kinky, of course, you get the plus more at It's Not Cheating. It's a part of your membership. So go ahead, reach out to me if you have any questions. If you are a plus member, I know Cobalt, you are a plus member, or you were planning to be a plus member, text. Celine will check that, I'm sure, get right back to you. Hello, Sir Thomas. Always a pleasure. So, yeah, it's been great to see y'all, and I'll probably come back on Monday with another little non-monogamy rant. So thanks, y'all, for joining me. Have a most wonderful day and a most wonderful weekend.